looking back at this day now in local history. 28 years ago today, the sealed records of the State Sovereignty Commission were opened to the public at the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. The commission had been set up by the legislature in 1956, and its official stated purpose was to protect Mississippi from interference by the federal government. In practice, that meant doing whatever possible to maintain separation of the races. The commission kept files on just about anyone associated with the civil rights movement in Mississippi. It was shut down in 1973, and the files were ordered sealed until 2027. But the American Civil Liberties Union sued successfully to get them opened sooner. A federal judge unseals the files of the State Sovereignty Commission on March 17, 1998. Your look at this day in history.